It's interesting. The Chargers and Rams play each other in the, quote, Battle of L.A. preseason edition on Saturday. We know what the Rams have accomplished. The Chargers are trying to get there. The Chargers have just a bright young quarterback in Justin Herbert coming off the 5,000-yard season. This is a special football player, intellectually, physically, cerebrally, athletically. He does everything correct. Not rattled by being in one of the biggest media markets in the country, not rattled by being on a team that's kind of in rebuild mode. Well, they've worked really hard to get to this point. And this point now has a very good offense led by a 6'6" third-year quarterback who is dynamic. And they have now fixed their defense. They added 6 free agents on defense in the offseason. They spent like they've never spent before. It started with the trade for Khalil Mack, the former Raider, former Chicago Bear. Khalil Mack is going to be on one side of Joey Bosa on the other. That pass rush off the edge ought to be fun to watch. They went into the marketplace and they signed the top cover corner in the NFL out of New England, J.C. Jackson. This kid's got 25 interceptions in 3 years. This kid is gifted athletically. He's become a really good player. And then they went out and they've added 2 big defensive tackles inside, led by Sebastian Joseph Day, who had been across the street playing for the Rams, big and young and physical. And they also signed New York Giants starting defensive tackle Austin Johnson. So you look at their defense, what they did up front on the edge, what they did with the bulk beef guys in the middle, what they did by adding linebackers like Kyle Van Noy, a smart guy, came from the Patriots. So it's going to be really interesting to see over the course of the season if they can stay free of injury and if the defense comes together. Ordinarily, people would say, John, well, they got a lot of new parts for Brandon Staley to coach. That's hard. Exception of J.C. Jackson, the cornerback. All those guys played for Brandon Staley somewhere along the line, whether with the Rams or with the Bears, where Staley coached prior as an assistant. So they know that defense. They walk in the front door, and they are probably much more in tune for what has to be done effective on opening day. And by the way, opening day, Raiders, AFC. And a good season. And they need a good season because they've really lost the battle in Los Angeles. They have just not been an impact franchise in the market. Now they've kind of become the fancy Dan team in the league, and everybody's paying attention to what they did in the offseason with that kid quarterback. So it's going to be great. And they start with the Rams this weekend.
So how do you see like the AFC West lining up? What's your predicted order of finish?
Well, we got 4 weeks to go before the season starts. We got 3 preseason games. Injuries kind of play a piece of that equation. I think what you need to pay attention to are what's happened with these other franchises. We know what the Chargers have become. Kansas City no longer has Tyreek Hill, their speed merchant wide receiver. They traded him in the offseason. I don't think they're going to be the same team because he was a game breaker, playmaker. Every time he touched the ball, there was the danger he'd go the distance. So I think they're going to be a little bit different team offensively. Denver's got what they've not had since Peyton Manning, and that was a few third downs ago. I'm talking about the arrival of Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback. He's going to make a bunch of plays with a lot of young skill guys on offense that they've not been able to make because the quarterbacks weren't up to snuff. And they had a defense that played really well last year under Coach Vic Fangio. So I think Denver's got enough components with Russell Wilson. And you got the Raiders with Josh McDaniels coming in from New England as the new head coach. You got Derek Carr, who I think is a tremendous vested veteran. You got Devontae Adams, who they got from Green Bay. A lot of new pieces on the defensive side of the football. That's a team to me that's got more question marks than anybody else because they just keep changing parts, trying to find a way to get guys they're going to make plays defensively. It has not happened the last group of years. Now they've imported a whole next wave of guys. But I'll tell you, I would not want to be a defensive coordinator in the AFC West. I think it is going to be so hard because everybody's got dynamic players on the offensive side of the football. Going to be fun. But that's conversation for the next 3 weeks before we get to Labor Day weekend and the actual start of the season.
Mhm.